What's up, guys? So we're going to talk about the future of gaming. We're talking about the Oculus Rift. I think the Oculus Rift and virtual reality technologies is the next big thing for gaming. So if you don't know what the Oculus Rift is, basically it's a set of glasses that you put over your head, and it encloses all over your eyes, and you play your respective 3D game, and you get a virtual reality experience. So first of all, it's just being close up to your eyes, so it's pretty much all that you see. You don't see the outside world. That's all blocked out. And when you look to the left, you see the viewpoint to the left. When you look up, you see the viewpoint up, just like when you move the mouse in a video game. So it gives you that sort of virtual reality experience. So I had some of my own personal experiences with this, but it's been talked about a lot, and probably sometime next year it's estimated that it's going to be released around. They're rumoring it to be around April 2015. So the Oculus Rift, actually, it started off as a Kickstarter project, and it was in 2012 they actually raised about a couple $1 million for it. And recently, Facebook, recently this year, they had actually purchased it for about $2.4 billion. So they're very, they're obviously very excited and considered to be the next big thing. So they've had a couple beta releases of what they call developer kits, which when they first released the first sort of prototype that people could buy for about $300, the developer kit, it was selling every couple minutes, and eventually they had to shut it down, and now they've got a second version, roughly around $350, but they don't have an official release yet, which we're waiting for. Which it's, again, they haven't directly said it, but everything's sort of indicating around April 2015 is when it looks like the target date is going to be. So the latest version will have, for one, audio support, basically a headset sort of tied into there. They did a recent demonstration in September and showed it with that to give more of an immersive experience, and 1080p visuals. So it's it just basically they're really sort of getting everything refined. But right now you can get those developer kits. There's not too much out there available for it. I mean, the whole idea is for you to, as a developer kit, to hopefully create some of your own stuff. But you can actually get some games like Half-Life 2, with Oculus support, Skyrim to a certain degree, which I think Skyrim particularly looks amazing with it, because Skyrim is all about that virtual reality experience. Basically just feeling like you're in that livable, breathable world and looking up at the sky and things like that. So, I think it's going to be particularly popular with Elder Scrolls fans. And horror games. Horror games, I think, also work very well. They sort of add to that sort of, shock value. So, Left 4 Dead and things like that. So, basically the price targets roughly around the $300 range, $200, $400, that sort of thing. So it's not too expensive, not too expensive for someone who's serious about it. And you can get the developer kits around $300 to $350 a pop. So just to show how popular this is, not only just has Facebook had bought into this technology and the development of it, you also have PlayStation has actually caught their attention. So they're creating a competitor called the Morpheus, and they're saying that's roughly about 85% done, and that should link up with the PS4. You also have a Montreal-based company that went on Kickstarter, and they got about $300K raised, not as much as the couple million that the Oculus had raised, mainly because people were skeptical. They wanted to see sort of a real prototype, and which they now actually have a prototype. So there are some smaller differences right now with this the Totem, which is the Montreal-based company has created this Totem product in its beta phases, such as being able to see the real world without a headset. That's one of the things in my experience when I use the Oculus, that taking it off, it is kind of big and clunky, but to be able to sort of flick a switch and then be able to go into real world view. So yeah, in terms of my experience, I basically came across this when it first came out. A buddy of mine had got one of the early stages of it, and I was making fun of myself wearing this thing and looking around all over the place. It looked like a friggin' idiot just staring off into space with his big, sci-fi glasses, Cyclops type glasses over his eyes. And then I actually tried it, and it was actually a really cool experience. All it was basically sitting on the roller coaster, and the roller coaster goes on autopilot, and I look up and down and everywhere around, and I really thought it was a really amazing experience, and I'm not one to say that. I'm usually, in terms of technology, I'm usually not an early adopter. Even though I love technology, I'm one of those people that I like to wait and see. I like things to be ironed out first, and I always accept, new technology will eventually change the way, the way we do certain things. But usually, it's all about where we are on that curve. So it's like if you ever read the book Crossing the Chasm, it talks about the different types of buyers. Some people with new technology, when the new gadget's out there, they're out to get it, and it hasn't been tested and played around with. Whereas for me, I like to wait for it to mature a little bit. But I actually sort of bought into the hype. I thought it was a great experience, and I just imagined what it would be like playing with some of your games. So why do I think this is why do I think this is going to be something that is going to change the gaming world? Well, first of all, I think we need something new. I think we need something new, something to be excited about, to talk about. There hasn't been much that's, in my mind, really that's been revolutionary or that different. You had your next generation consoles come out, and for the most part, I haven't seen a massive difference, not the type of difference that you see from PS2 to PS3. It could be just myself. I mean, definitely things are crisp, and mind you, I play a lot on a PC now, so I don't see the same sort of, I barely played my PS3 after I started doing PC gaming, so that in itself evolves sort of more gradually and organically because the PC gaming system that pushes the envelope. So, but I think at the very least we need something to talk about. We need something to talk about to be able to say, this is the new big thing or an interesting thing. So, and when you look at most of our revolutions in gaming are visual, right? Like not that much has happened with sound. Maybe speech synthesis got added, after say the mid 90s, and that became commonplace, and then you'd have sound with panning sound that the game when you turn to the left, you hear it more in the left ear, but not that much has happened with sound and controls. You have things like different types of controllers and being able to use motion detector, but most of our revolutions are visual, right? So we've had the next generation, and most of that change has been visual there. So we haven't, that's sort of the direction we go into when we have our revolutions. It's based on it being visual. Next thing is Facebook is behind it, and they're willing to pay the dollar, $2 billion to acquire that. So I mean, obviously they seriously think that this could be the next big thing, and they are innovators in technology and have great insight. So that says something about it. A lot of big names are getting involved, you got Sony getting involved with their competitor products. So a lot of big names are getting interested in this, which shows something about it. Our whole gaming experience is all about immersion, right? We're not, that's been sort of the direction we're going. I mean, you have your casual games like your Marios and your mobile games, and that's not necessarily about immersion. That's just more for casual fun. But everything is about making things more realistic, making those graphics more realistic. So that's a general direction. The more we can get more immersion into our gameplay experience for most of our games, the more inclined these days that we are going to like it. So that's it. And we've also been just talking about virtual reality forever, and I think that the public is finally hungry to experience it. I remember even hearing about when I was a kid and saying, the future is going to be all virtual reality and this and that, and not seeing it. Would you go on Star Trek and they'd have these holodecks and all that sort of stuff, and it's still not there's nothing out there right now. And even though it's not perfect, that complete holographic experience, yet it's something that's still very viable, right? And I think we're hungry to finally see it. I mean, it's been talked about for ages, right? So I think that it's gonna have a lot of legs. I think I could be wrong. This, for all I know, this could be fall into some sort of gimmick area like motion capture. Motion capture is something that we acknowledge when we first do it. We're like, oh, this is kind of cool, but ultimately, you don't have every player playing Skyrim with motion capture, even though you can. You can play Skyrim with the Xbox Kinect and things like that, right? But I don't think so. Again, it's just well, for one, I think the motion capture, most people want to be lazy. They don't want to get up and actually move their bodies. But for the most part, it comes back to that most of our revolutions are mainly visual. So, and I think there's also going to be a lot of other uses other than gaming. Gaming in general usually pushes technology, pushes the envelope of technology, and then other adopters go through its different usage. And of course, I think the adult industry will utilize this very well. I mean, the adult industry is another industry that pushes the envelope with technology in different ways, and you always got your perverts out there who want to try something new in a different sort of way, and all the different novelties, and then I think expand into training and stuff like that as well, training and simulations, and so I think there's a lot of different applications other than just gaming itself, right? And it's a pretty reasonable price point, even though it's to some people $300, that might sound a little steep, but I think that's relatively reasonable, for what you can get out of it. So I'm looking forward to, hopefully, if the rumors are true, April 2015 to seeing this in action. I'm definitely probably going to get one myself. But I just, at the very least, to have something to talk about, something to be excited about, and just experience a new gaming experience. So we all look out for it, and we all need something new to be excited about. I think the Oculus Rift can be it. All right, I will talk to you later.